Second area we look at is a very strong internal process that is, however, adaptable to our specific VMware requirements. We have run into a few issues with some of our vendors when they had a very strong process, but they were not willing to adapt it to VMware. So that's something that we look at, the flexibility to be able to tweak your process to have a good synergy with our own processes. These processes have to be documented, transparent, and uniformly followed. And that is a challenge for us internally as well as for our vendors sometimes. There is not enough to just decide what the process is and put it down on paper, but follow it all the time, follow it consistently. And quality management. What are the rules or the processes that the vendors follow for quality management? Do they have a way how they track issues and how they track the resolution? Do they even follow up on issues, or do we just keep sending complaints to a black box? Whether they have the proper QA rounds, whether they have checklists for the QA rounds, and whether they do the proper file checks. Many times it happens that project managers just move files from one inbox to another. And by the time they reach the client, it's like, did you even open the file? The mistakes are so obvious. It's Korean. I don't read Korean, and even I can tell it's wrong. So that's something that is sometimes quite challenging. And what is the most challenging for all of us are the feedback loops, the internal and external feedback loops. There's so many people involved in the process that the information sometimes doesn't flow properly to all of them. And that's where we could probably learn a lot from Wagner and from logistics. They have brought the information flow to an art. So that's something that we still need to work on a little bit. Quality of service, I'll go through it really fast. Most of you as vendors know what we expect as clients. Excellent communication, very good teamwork, not just teamwork in your company, but teamwork with all of our team members. And make sure that our vendors and our reviewers are extended arms of our globalization team, that we don't have the client and the vendor, the big boss and the poor little person who is trying to say yes, 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 of course. We are all together one team, we're in the same boat, and we expect this kind of approach from all our vendors and all our reviewers, because the final result is the cooperation of all of us. Another area that we look at, how well are our vendors able to scale? Our workload is sometimes unpredictable and sometimes hits really high peaks. So are our vendors able to suddenly absorb a lot of work from us? And I see Cassie is nodding. Poor guys, those are on the receiving end of our sometimes very huge volumes that hit at the same time, or sometimes really small projects, but that have very quick turnarounds and have to be turned around in 1 or 2 or 3 days. And of course, project management that has to be a very high quality, detailed, very responsive, and the deliveries have to be timely. The fourth area that we also look at is the quality of the technical service. How well are our vendors and also our internal team members able to manage working in our content management system in SDL TMS, also in our Typo 3 system, which is our web content management system. Whether they have extensive knowledge with Trados, SDLX, and all the publishing tools that we require. Whether they have enough multimedia experience, because our sales enablement courses have very strong multimedia component. And how well are they handling our document management portals? The choice of our company happens to be SharePoint. So linguistic quality, processes, service quality, and technical expertise are the 4 areas of quality that we look at and we evaluate at VMware. So let me show you how mature we are and where we still have to go, because there is still a lot of work that has to be done. In the first area, we've already done this usual style guides, glossaries, oral translation. On most of our translation memories are collected in TMS. We have the linguistic reviewers, and we also have business review for critical projects. So we only bug those systems engineers and marketing people for very high visibility, very business critical projects. And we also have review feedback loop. But we have not managed to do regular updates of our glossaries and style guides. We have tried to do it every other quarter. We're still not there. So that's something that we need to streamline and standardize a little better. We also need to make sure that our translation memories are updated consistently into TMS, which is not happening all the time yet. And we also have to align all our vendors into our tools. Our main localization vendors are in the tools properly, but we have 3 new transcreation vendors that have been selected specifically for very highly specific marketing materials that are not aligned with our tools and our localization processes yet. We also have to streamline the feedback loop because we still rely a lot on email. So sometimes information simply gets lost, or it's not forwarded to the right person, or it's just simply too much forwarding and people don't read everything. We also would like to implement a quality assessment tool so that we can start collecting statistical data about quality. Because at the moment it's still more or less verbal through the calls, through feedback that we elicit from the PMs. About a couple of times a year. And we want to do a regular quality assessment so that we can start with, let's say, biannual and maybe move to quarterly assessments and collect the data. When it comes to processes, we have appointed a process watchdog. It's me, again, who is supposed to watch over implementation and also a consistent use of the agreed processes. We have documented and shared them internally. We have created a globalization handbook for our internal team where all the processes are put together in one document. And we're also sharing some processes externally with vendors through SharePoint. And we're trying to streamline processes along the tools that we have, because even the best process does not always work with your particular environment and with your particular tool. So that's why we tried to adapt our processes along the tools that we have. But we still need to work on better enforcement of these processes, improve the documenting, because we've been changing the process a lot the past 2 quarters, but our documentation and updates have not caught up to that yet. So that's an area that we need to work on internally as well. And we need to improve our internal process for a couple of areas. Our program management still is a bit shaky, and also our management of campaigns. So that's something that we're looking into at the moment. And we have to close communication loops with our stakeholders. Our own internal stakeholders are the corporate stakeholders, sometimes in 2 different teams. And marketing people on a geo level, let's say EMEA leads or APAC leads or Latin America leads, and then all the local offices. So there's so many people involved that not everyone is always included in the communication that pertains to them. So closing communication loops to improve what we deliver to the client is really important for us.